All right, boys. Here we go. We are off and away. This is exciting. We are here once again. Race Communiqué. We're a little bit delayed, but for good reason. I'm going to be welcoming my two guests, my two co-hosts. Southam would be impressed, wouldn't he, Derbo?
Yeah. Southern's a host and I'm a guest.
Well, Southam couldn't even be bothered rocking up today. So we've gone out and we've sourced someone even better. We've got the Flying Mullet. Shane Archbold is here, sports director of Red Bull Bora-Hansgrohe, and ex-pro from many teams. Mullet, welcome. Welcome to the Race Communiqué, mate. Great to have you on board.
Thanks for the invite. I don't know if I can quite fill Tom's shoes, but we'll give it a chance. So see how we go.
Well, you're here, so it's a good start, you know. Just Tom won't listen to this and we'll just shit can him the whole time, you know. Tom, let's just talk about Tom for the whole episode and see if he actually pays attention and listens to it.
I've got a really good story for later, very off topic from all your topics, Mitch, but I've got a story about Tom we can share.
Oh, yeah, let's get into that.
Let's do a segment.
Let's make it a segment.
About Tom, we could call it. New segment. And, of course, my other occasional guest, Luke Durbridge from Jaco Alula. Still current pro.
Still current, still here. Yeah. Hey, guys. Good to be here.
This is Life on the Peloton, production made possible by our major partner, MAP. But the Race Communiqué is exclusively being brought to you by Training Peaks. And whether you're an elite athlete, a cycling coach, or you're new to the sport, get the tools you need to reach your goals with Training Peaks. We've all used Training Peaks for a long time throughout our career. It's been great because the gravel season in the Northern Hemisphere is about to kick off for you boys. It's kicking off. I saw Durbo was already out there doing the gravel. And if you're a weekend warrior or an elite racer out there, athletes on all levels all rely on using Training Peaks to stay focused, train smarter, or rise to the next challenge. It's one of the things that I use throughout my career, like I said, with my old coach, because it was a hub, an interaction where I love to have that conversation with him. Shane, actually, something I wanted to ask you, mate, because you've done that recent transition. I haven't actually done it on the other way around yet, where now you're actually analysing the files. Southam talks about this, but coming from using it to now looking at it from the other side, do you do that?
I do not. I use it for a very different purpose. I mean, I can't analyse files. We have experts for that. I'm a sports director, not a trainer. But I do use it. I do have access to all the riders, and I do use it in a very different way. In the fact that I find it to know where they are.
Mm.
So before I race, they could be anywhere. You know what? I mean, Durbo's a good example of this. He could be anywhere. His trainer doesn't necessarily know if he's an Andorra or Girona. So before I start the competition, I at least want to know, A, if they're on a rest day. Obviously, I call them on an easier day than a 6-hour day because it's impossible to get them on the phone. And B, where they are. If they are in Andorra, for example, training, or they generally live in Belgium or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So I use it. Quick click on the map. Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, okay, that's a good conversation starter. Not that I've struggled with conversation with bike riders, but it's just nice to know something rather than the generic. I mean, we've all had directors call us in the past going, so, mate, how are you? Where are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, but it's a little bit creepy when you start calling them up and go, so, sat at the lake at Bagnoles for an hour and a half today, did you? You're like, what? Yeah.
Don't dive. I would see the lake stop, but I wouldn't, not with time. But it's actually a useful tool for that, because otherwise it saves myself looking like an idiot not knowing that they haven't ridden their bike for all there in front of you. And you don't have to ask those questions.
True.
Well,
True.
If you're in the Southern Hemisphere where I am, it's getting colder now and we're coming into trainer season. Not so much myself. I think I might just brunt the cold, but I know many people are on the trainers and, well, if you've signed up to Training Peaks, the best thing you get now is Training Peaks Virtual, the new online training application. And Training Peaks Virtual We've spoken about it on the pod before, but they're always updating and adding new features. They've added the new hub for in-game interaction and new game models so you can zero in or zero out. It's a bloody nice platform if you're training indoors. I've tried it. I know Durbs used it to get back. But if you are signed up to Training Peaks, that's included. That's the best bonus of it, is that it's all included, so you don't have to go out and buy a separate platform. It's all intertwined. It's a nice little package, isn't it, Durbs?
Oh, it's seamless. Seamless.
Let's
One-stop shop.
Let's get into the episode. We have got a big one because we're right here in the Giro. We've saved this one for the rest day for you guys. It's been a cracker. I've been lucky enough to commentate on the first week. It was already hard enough. They've had a bit of a rest week this week, or so it seemed profile-wise. But the last week is an absolute doozy. Boys, you've been keeping up to date before I give us a quick recap?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we were in Tour of Hungary, Shane and I. So when you're at a bike race, actually, you can actually just, after the stage, just sit down and watch the last 50K. I'm actually doing the bit of tipping with my family. So, just getting across the stages. It's been good. I mean, it looks bloody solid. Like if you look at the way the gaps are and the way these sprint finishes are ending up, with a group of 30 having a go, you sort of think, oh, today's a sprint day. And when it ends up in a group of 30 or really hectic final, you're thinking, man, there's no switch off days because then the next day you go to the mountains. So, yeah, I think it's been a challenging one.
Well, let's rewind. Start back in Albania. It looked really hectic. I wasn't commentating then, but I tuned in and checked it out. I guess the question is, why do they start in other countries for you boys? I didn't know this, but they're only allowed to start every 4 years in another country. Did you guys know that?
Didn't know that by rule, but I guess there's always a way around it, isn't there? Like,
Is that a by rule for the ASO or RCS? We don't know.
Must be RCS. I actually should know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I don't know about the Albania start. I know guys that were there obviously looked quite good on TV, zooming out, seeing all the scenery, etc. But yeah, it's like, countries that don't normally have bike races then have bike races. There's a lot of ecosystem around holding a bike race, and then that involves like a couple of days training before. Like you go out riding and. Yeah, the race might be closed roads and safe. And, I mean, Dion Smith got hit by a goat, but, that's another story. But, yeah, so it's I don't know if Albania was awesome, to be honest.
Was all cracked up to be. Well, it's got to be all down to cash, surely. Tourism, cash.
I think it's definitely 100% money. It's for me, the biggest confusing one would be this year is the Giro starts in Albania and the Vuelta starts in Italy. So
did you
the Tour of Italy that doesn't start there, and the Tour of Spain it also doesn't start there, but it just happens to be in Italy, passing by France on the way. Like
ASO's got a hard on for Italy at the moment. We started the Tour de France, last year in Florence. Now they also run the Vuelta, so they're starting in Italy. So I think it was such a success holding the tour in Florence that they thought, oh, let's do the Vuelta next year.
Well, what about the Giro? Perth. It's happening. Did you hear that?
Yeah, mate.
It's locked in.
2029, you've got to pump another 4 years out to get there, mate.
Look, I heard there's something like the Giro is going to start in Australia, but then I read the source that it was coming from Mike Tomalaris, and I was like, I'm not sure.
You got to hang on for a few more years.
How is that actually possible though? Seriously, it's not actually possible, surely.
Oh, you can do a direct flight from Perth to Europe.
Anything's possible, but
it's 17 hours.
Impractical. I think I'm actually for different countries spreading the money around only when it's not a logistical nightmare. So I think Albania, minus the road surface, was quite good. But logistics, it wasn't too bad. Jump on the ferry, everyone's over, an extra rest day. But for example, some of the ones in the past, starting miles.
Israel or
For this example, in the Vuelta, starting in Italy, and then it's a 600k transfer. Stage 5 is going to be a TTT. No rest. That's not cool. Like, that's not, put a stage in the middle, get away with it. But Israel also will nightmare.
Well, Israel was a nightmare. We're going to talk about 2018 Giro later on because there's some similarities to this Giro and the 2018 Giro. Let's run through quickly. The dominance from Trek was pretty much the story of the first week. Mads Pedersen and Vacek, incredible. Bernal is back. He was looking really cool, really good, and leading into the Strade Bianche stage, I was like, this is looking fantastic, and he's definitely not off the cards yet. There was this question, and it's a bit of a question, and maybe we can put it out to Shane, but Rog was almost asleep. The first uphill finish they had, and Ayuso went away with it. Roglič almost sort of missed the beat there, but he kept his cool. It looked like it was all planned, but, following that, we saw him, which is sort of a little bit what we expect out of Roglič. Is always his Achilles heel is his bike handling skills. There was maybe it would look like Lucas Hamilton maybe brought him down in that gravel corner, but it looked like he crashed on his own. I'm talking about the Strade Bianche stage now, stage 9. That was sort of the slowly undoing there, and I was like, well, this is it. But we saw, to talk about that stage as well, the dominance of Van Aert. That was an amazing, and we saw Del Toro move into pink. Plapp is back. Green Edge. Luke Plapp takes an epic stage win. Was definitely some unpacking to do there. I guess there's a couple of questions out of that first week. It's sort of my quick, very synopsis of that. Sorry, that second week there. That first week. Durbo, I'll start with you first. Plappy, mate. Thoughts?
How good?
About how good? Because you on the same day got a stage win over in Hungary with Groenewegen. It was like the damn walls broke with Green Edge. The pressure was building. You guys are sitting down there third last on the rankings, pretty much looking at relegation.
Thanks for reminding me.
I don't know if you knew that, so I was just filling you in.
Oh no, someone's mentioned it. Yeah. No, it was really, really good. I mean, to see Plappy do that, I think we all knew Plappy could do something like that, especially in Europe. And we always thought this guy's engine's massive and he destroys Aussie summer. But putting it together in Europe has been a challenge. And it's funny, he had his wrist injury after Down Under, and I'm wondering if because he didn't continue to keep pinning it, he had to actually force himself to have a proper rest after Aussie summer. And then he actually can now build up properly for the Giro. And then now his conditions, he's been in 2, breakaways that nearly went to the line. But yeah, even just the way he rode that day, like hit him just before the top. I think he potentially wanted to get away on the downhill because, going downhill with Alisi and stuff like that's like probably not that fun.
Just before you get to that bit, how's the way he got to the front group? On that climb. Like, when I was commentating it, I'm looking across at Gero going, he's blown it. He's blown here. Like, there's surely. And then you see him get in the drops. You're like, surely not. And then he skips across and just like, seriously? Yeah, like, it was incredible. No one else could have done that.
It's like when he's on those days, though, so like for him, it just doesn't just come so naturally. Even when he was away, he was just like he was burning them. Like 3 guys swapping off full behind, and he's just putting gaps into them. It was pretty cool. But yeah, for him, it was really, really cool to see. Good friend, good guy, obviously teammate. But yeah, for us, it was really special. And then yeah, like when you get that stage, the pressure sort of goes away, and then everyone starts racing better. So it was good.
Mm-hmm. What I want to go across to you, Shane, because let's talk about the team now. Maybe getting insights, maybe not, but even just your own opinion. Losing Jai Hindley early, I forgot to mention that big crash into the Napoli finish, and big one losing Jai. Obviously, Danny Martinez second last year. Roglič as well, coming in as the outright favourite. I guess a bit of a team losing a bit of wind out of the sails, more or less. It sort of felt like, the team looked so solid coming in. They're very confident. But I guess coming into that first rest day before this week, I don't know. What's your thoughts watching it on, and maybe even any intel that you can let us in on? What was the state of Roglič coming into this week?
I wouldn't say going in very confident. Obviously, when you're up against UE, a super team, and a super team, going through the first week with 4 in the top 10 makes it pretty complicated. Obviously, they definitely were all in on Primož. You've already touched on it. The damn all of Jaco, sometimes it's nice to the expectations growing to get the stage win, takes it off the shoulders. And then obviously there's the Primož scenario where it's like, try and keep him upright. He's better. He does have some bad luck in terms of crashes. From the crashes I've had this year, I wouldn't say any of them are necessarily down to his bike handling skills. Maybe just more wrong place, wrong time. And it seems to happen a lot to him. And now, obviously, it was I think the first stage you touched on in the first week, the climbing one, it's sort of how he races. If he knows he's not up for the win, he just does the absolute of what he needs to get there at the same time, which he did it every time. He was a pretty good position. Obviously, 2 days ago, losing a bit of time with this crash where Visma pinned it, lost a bit more time, but still there or thereabouts. And then obviously yesterday, the true effects of crashing 3 times in the first week sort of came out, and he suffered. Obviously, I'd say the team don't have too much contact. I like to concentrate on the races I'm doing, Hungary and Norway next week, rather than the races other people are doing. But I'd say they were just hoping to get him to the rest day, knowing that he wasn't in the best shape after the crashes. Try and recover on the rest day. Go into the last week, even par, around the 1.5, 2 minute mark, where everyone else in the GC is. Unfortunately, yesterday it showed, and it didn't happen that way. And then they have to rethink things. But obviously, like you said, it's not the most smoothest week. Losing Jai out with concussion, that crash. Danny also crashing, not losing time. Obviously, it didn't matter if they lost time, but the fact that they not at 100% has been a slow deterioration of the team, I would say. If you've been paying close attention, you'll see the new super domestique in our team coming in, and I think he's 21 years old, Pellizzari. Everywhere Primož shoots, Pellizzari's there. And he is the nicest kid I've ever met. Very Italian, I would say. But he's showing that was a good signing. I would say that much. He's
because even the way he's been dragging Roglič to the line, like even yesterday he was like one of those ones, the guy's ridden all day for the domestique and he's sort of like in the front, and then eventually the GC guy just leaves in the last couple 100 meters to get the time. He just does like winding it up like it's a lead out, and like Roglič's just like, nah, man, I'm staying here. Like just stayed in the wheel. But I would be silly if you would think you would count out Roglič. Like we would, the amount of times that we've seen Primož just, have these issues and have these, it's a long time, it's a long gap now. It's probably maybe too far, but like, man, you'd be silly to discount him. Like he plays the game. He kicks his toe, and his next minute he's got bandages from head to toe. And then he's like, I can't. I'm not very good. But like that's his demeanor. So I don't know.
Let's talk about the last week. That's what I want to talk about, is because, the question that you brought up, Pellizzari, he was second last year in the KOM, second in the stage, so he's got the goods. He's now riding even better than he was last year. My question would be, when do they sort of let him go and go for a stage and let Roglič sort of play the almost, what's the right word here? I guess the underdog card, and just let him fly his own flag. I think, in my opinion, it'd be great to see Pellizzari have a chance in the breakaway. They go into a massive week this week. The high mountains, he's obviously a very good climber in the breakaway. He's gone up a level now. I don't know, is that even sort of, is that what he would want to do? Because if you rewind it to a guy like Carlos Verona, who had an amazing win yesterday, in his interview he said, I certainly didn't come to the Giro thinking that I could win a stage, and I was happy with that. So that's a really big point. And we're here for the full support of Mats Pedersen and Giulio Ciccone everything changed yesterday when we lost Chico. Today is my day, and I wanted to do it for him. So that's the funny thing, and that's what I wanted to bring up about Pellizzari, is that you guys would know this yourself. I know it from the sprint, and I'm assuming you know it too, Mullet, is that when the sprint suddenly punches 2K to go and you're leading him out, or 1K to go, and they suddenly just go, Shane or Mitch, you can sprint now. Like, it's a real mentality switch. You weren't ready for it. You weren't thinking about trying to win the stage. In that moment, you got to change it. So for a super domestique, in the middle of the race, when they've come there to support a GC man, to suddenly go, yeah, go for it. You can win a stage now. Like, that's so significant what Carlos Verona did, to be able to switch it and actually capitalize on his performance. One, because he's been riding in the wind all week, but two, the mentality side of it. So I guess it's a double-edged sort of question to both of you guys. Is like, what's the go with Pellizzari? Should he be allowed to? And secondly, can he then go and do that physically and mentally?
I think it would definitely, from the team side, would definitely come down to Tuesday. Well, yeah, tomorrow. To see how Primož actually is. The first time they go up the mountain, they're going to know if it's pain, or if it's just general fatigue from the crashes. I have no idea, but I guess it'll be clear. And then the team goal will be set from there. I guess they discuss everything today on the rest day. Look at the ins and outs. They do have a chance in Pellizzari. They've also got a few other guys that could. Haliotti. I mean, Nico Dens is thereabouts always, and he's been pretty good. Okay, the last week not suited to his type of style of racing, but I guess the first step would be see how Primož is after his day, and then adapt the tactic. But it would be cool for Pellizzari. But I think the biggest thing with Verona yesterday, it wasn't that he didn't switch his mindset. He just didn't have a mindset. He had 4 million opportunities that he would, like in the past, he said in his interview, like, oh, I was always disappointed or whatever could happen. He didn't have the chance to switch his mindset. It was just like, oh, I'm going for it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, I'll attack 30K earlier than he would, because don't really matter if I get a result. The team's got 5 stages in the pocket. They're not going to expect me to do this. Oh, look, here I am. I've got a chance to win. And it was like absolutely. And also the biggest thing on yesterday's stage for me was when Zana came to 12 seconds. They came to seconds at the top of the climb, and I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. 3 of them chopping off. Let's see. Well, I think in my head they're going to catch him for sure. It was the opposite, exactly like Plappy, this like super streak from Friday, just like, boom. It was crazy. But it's all, not necessarily, I don't think it's a mindset change for some bike riders, just the fact that they're not thinking about anything. They're clear. There's no expectation. Just go for it.
That's a good point.
Well, you spoke about it. Tomorrow's stage is the Queen stage. It's a pretty epic stage. Let's talk about the last week quickly here. Tomorrow's 4,900 meters of climbing. Just a lazy Cat 2 and then 3 Cat 1s. It's pretty epic. It's the last climb. They've featured this climb in the Tour of the Alps, and Leonard Kemner won up there. It's an 18K climb, 6%, maxes out at 14%. The Giro's never finished up there. It's a brutal stage. It's a hard week. They're going stage 17. They're heading up the Motorolo, but they're going up this different way. They're going up the Ruta Contador. So it's like the backside of the Motorolo, which isn't super tough, but they're going up this ridiculous new road that they've put in there. Maxes out at 25%.
Ciccone won a stage, actually, when we descended it. Ciccone won. It was like we went up Motorolo, we went down that side, and then Ciccone won. And it was like, I can't remember what year, 2019.
Right. And the final, like there's actually a sprint stage in there, 18, but 19 and 20 are just outrageous. Stage 19, I don't know how this wasn't Queen stage, but it's less K and more altitude than stage 16. It's 160K at 4,950. There's a Cat 3 out of the holes, which Archie, you and I would really love. And then they've got 3 Cat 1s and a Cat 2. It's not an official uphill finish because the last 5K is downhill, but it's just ridiculous. And then stage 20, which in my eyes would have been the hardest one because it's got the Chimacopi in it. The Col de Finestra is actually just a normal sort of stage, only 4,300 meters, 205K. And it's just it's really like, and this week in my eyes was supposed to be a sort of a lesser week, and on paper it was, but they've raced it so hard, and so much has happened. And I guess before we finish up the Giro, we should really talk about the race leader, Isaac Del Toro, taking the jersey. That into yesterday, well, not yesterday, the day before, we saw this sort of it was yesterday. Would you say it was fighting, or this just, I guess, this hard for us to understand what's really happening in UAE. There's been this sort of talk about, what's the support of Ayuso and then, Del Toro. Is this sort of naiveness of being in the pink jersey and chasing down every attack, or is this actually the plan? Or are they telling him, this is what my theory is, that they're actually telling him, hey, we've got this, but he's just so like, no, I've got it. I've got fresh legs. I'll just cover that. That's the feeling I get, but maybe we're all wrong. There's just going for Ayuso, and, Del Toro is just I don't know. What's your theory, guys? Because he wrote
There's been many situations like when Del Toro goes and then UA just like you said, they just sort of continue to ride, not necessarily chasing Del Toro, but they're just like, well, there was no need to follow that. We'll just slowly pull it back. You know what I mean? Like just like a normal team would, but it sort of looks like they are chasing Del Toro in some of these situations. And you're just like, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, it would get to a point where you would just be like, Del Toro has clearly shown he is the strongest guy in that team at the moment. I mean, Ayuso is obviously there as well, but too bad, man. It's like Geraint Thomas and Egan Bernal when Bernal won this tour. Like, Geraint Thomas was strong, but Bernal went first, and G just had to do the teammate job and stay there. So it's just part of the game. Like, but Del Toro should just get the respect of going for it. And if he cracks, he cracks, and then Ayuso is the next person in line. But he's got the pink jersey. I don't understand.
I think probably tactically, it's pretty open. I would say. I'm guessing UE have access to training peaks. They know what they're capable of. They know what's in the last week. I don't think that Ayuso's ever gone off being their favourite, but either one or two things could be happening. Del Toro's not really paying attention, not listening, and doesn't give a shit. He just wants to do his own thing, and they're happy with it. Or he's got the green card to follow everything. But for me, he's like, he's definitely overexerting. He's taking 2 seconds here, 3 seconds here, which, as you just listed, every single stage, it doesn't matter at the end of any one of those stages. If you have a bad day, you can have 150 bonus seconds in your back pocket. It's not going to matter. 2.5 minutes can go like that after the 5,000 meters, 160k stage. So, like, the overexcited, like you touched on this, definitely. But he looks so good. Like, he hasn't gone to the limit. Like, we're already at this last week now, and it's like, well, you can't fault him. Ayuso, like you said, they're a little bit slower reacting. The team does steamroll. They're doing the old Ineos tactic, the strongest team, or Sky tactic, strongest team by far, and just steamroll the front. But their leader on paper right now is in front. So it's a little bit interesting. But I think the best thing they are doing is keeping all options open, Everyone
the tricky thing is that the person with the dagger is Ayuso, I think. Like, for example, if they were waiting for, say, for example, the year Pogačar was attacking all the time, taking bonuses, doing the sprints, even the flat stages, he's going for it. And then eventually Jonas and the team got together and they cracked him eventually and got rid of him. And everyone's like, oh, well, Pogačar just exerted so much energy beforehand. It's a bit like that, but the person who's Jonas in this situation is his teammate, who's Ayuso. So, like, it's not like we're coming for you and you wait till you crack, I'm coming. But it's like only Ayuso might be thinking that, because the rest of the team's like, well, let's not make the race that hard. If Del Toro's having a bad day, let's just slow it down because we can actually control that because we've got 4 in the top 10 or whatever. So, you know what I mean? Like, we're all waiting for this. He's going to crack, but I'm like, he's going to crack and it's going to go to Ayuso. So it's not, no one's going after that,
Well, who are the other favourites? I've got a couple in mind.
Simon Yates.
Well, he's Yatesy, you got.
Come on.
Yatesy, he's a bit unpredictable, though. You remember what he did? 2018 Giro, 2.5 weeks in the jersey. You get to Col de Finestra and he loses 30 minutes. He hasn't had the most ideal preparation. He hasn't had the most ideal preparation. He was hit by a car in Tenerife. He got sick before Trino. So I
of the
like what
game,
he's
part of the
doing,
game.
but he's not. He's
just
also
slowly.
not known for being in the high mountains. My pick is Carapaz. Carapaz looking dangerous tactically. He's more astute. Higher mountains suit him. He's 2019 defending Giro. He defended the Giro from stage 14, so we know he's good in the third week. I think for me, Carapaz is looking the most dangerous in with the heaviness of this last week. Mullet.
Oof. My favourite lost too much time yesterday to say that much.
Good director.
I could get 5 for saying anything else. But what I can say is, I mean, UAE's situation has changed slowly. Yatesy lost a little bit of time. McNulty sort of falling by the way, generally. Now it's an interesting top 10. You got 3 teams with 2 guys in the top 10. Okay, the gaps are bigger than they should have been 2 days ago on paper. But as we said before, none of that can change in 5,000 metres. That can change very fast. Bahrain, 2 cards to play. Ineos, 2 cards to play. Technically, UAE must be still thinking, You know, like at some point, we really need to take control of this race, because right now, if you take all the time gaps just to Yates, if you take out Del Toro because he's going to blow up, apparently, it's still a close game. Like 2 minutes, from a minute and a half back to 3.5 minutes. There's still a lot of guys in the game. It's interesting. I wouldn't be backing anyone. I don't know what Durbo's got in his sweepstake back home, but what are the odds actually?
No, I don't. I'm not actually allowed to talk about it.
Oh, right.
Don't bet. Bet responsibly.
I'll get the final word in on the Giro wrap up. Derek G has moved into 5th position, 2 minutes 54 down. That's my final word.
Hi guys, it's Pelo Chat. You love my intros, don't you? I just don't know how to do it. I get all like, it's all of a sudden, it's just...
That was it. You weren't even taking the piss then.
No, that was it. It was me. Hi, it's Pelo Chat. I've got a pillow here, you know. Anyway.
Pillow talk.
Pillow talk. I actually thought we should do a little spotlight on one of the best performing teams of the season. I'm going to talk about XDS Astana. Now,
nice.
Look, Astana has done the Houdini. If we think about the points, the 3-year rolling average is coming up this year. So, like a Premier League situation, the bottom 2 teams will be cut, out of the World Tour, which probably doesn't change now these days because there's so many wild cards that get invited to Grand Tours. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But what I wanted to say with the Astana is they came in significantly down. Like, everyone thought it's unachievable. They were pretty much done for all money. Everyone was saying, okay, Astana's done, from the previous averages for the last couple of years, how are they going to turn this all around? And then the off-season, they pretty much just went, okay, we're going to go after point scorers and we're going to change our race program. And they just pretty much axed half their team, brought in new guys, and let's go after it. Now, the thing is, what they have done has been miraculous, actually. But when we're talking about the classics, the monuments, we're talking about the Grand Tours, the World Tour 1-week stage races, they have had some decent performances, but nothing like extraordinary. But in terms of the every other races underneath, the French races that they started focusing on, they hadn't done in 3 years. The Italian races they did. There's no easy races, but
they won the 3-day tour here in Lansfield.
200 UCI points. Anyway, they won
4th Grand Tour.
Well, no, this is what I'm talking about. They went after that, and there was talking to a few guys in that team. Is that it's actually their best riders are going after points. That's sort of like their motivator. And rather than looking at points, we're chasing points, they've just gone points. We want points. Let's go after points. They know the system. They know Bettiol when I was talking to Southam last time, he was saying that he knew every little detail about the point system. Like, he knew how much, points you lost if you threw a bottle, or how much points you got for running, top 10 in this stage versus a monument, or, I'll go after Boucles Le Man, which means I'm top 10 in San Remo. Same equivalent. So he's like, but maximum effort, maximum points.
Mm.
So the thing is about
bad in that. There's nothing bad in that. Like, everyone should
there's
actually
nothing
know
bad,
that.
But if you think about but this is where I'm talking, is that, like, we've got a quote here that I'll read from Astana's director. Where is it here? So it's from Dmitry Fofanov. And he said that we have new objectives. The UCI points may always motivate us, but the strategy is not the same as before. We race in different way. Until now, the team liked to ride for the win, but now we adapt tactics to chase points, sometimes no longer prioritizing the win, but we have 2 or 3 guys in the top 10. So it's like they're not actually going to win the bike race. They're going to put 2 guys in the top 10. And, like, I don't know, from
So
us,
isn't that what
all three
AG2R
here,
have been doing their whole existence?
yeah, but that's because they've been racing each other for Tour de France spots. But I just find it's interesting that, like, as a fan, you're watching to who's winning the bike race. Mitch, you're a fan. Shane, you're in the car. I don't know. I don't like it because you're watching to who's going to win the bike race. And, like, all these tactics go into who's going to win the bike race. But then it will come a point where there'll be 5 teams that'll go win the bike race because they've got so many points that it doesn't matter if they have 2 in the top 10 or not. And then you have the bottom 10 teams that are fighting to stay in the World Tour, not even going for the victory. They'll just be going for 2 in the top 10 just to survive for another season. It's like...
But the thing is,
I reckon the point...
I was just going to say that won't Astana adapt their idea once they're back comfortably in the World Tour next year, and they'll be like, cool, we're in now, we're safe.
Why would you, though? Because they are currently 3rd.
Yeah, because they need to attract sponsors. Oh, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So if you go, if the sponsor goes, we're the 3rd best team in the world, and then the sponsor goes to the Tour de France, you're like, yeah, but you didn't do anything at the Tour de France. You're like, yeah, but we won Boucles, and we won this Italian race, and we won this race and this race. The sponsor's like, okay, but what about the Tour? When did you win a stage there? They're like, oh, no. There's not that many points there. We can't get points there, so we just don't worry about it. You're like, okay,
I think too about it. The interesting part, like where you say that changing your tactic match is maybe they could let's say they make it into the World Tour next year, they could dial back the tactic. But if you look at their results when they were trying to win races, they didn't have anyone in the top 20. Not once. Are they getting quite a few wins? Okay, they won in Hungary last week. Quite impressive. They weren't chasing to fill top 10 there. But then it's the way they're racing and the way the team's trajectory is, they could also win stages in Tour de France. Just by pure morale, everyone's high, everyone's bouncing on like springs, and then all of a sudden, boom, they end up in a situation they're putting guys in breakaway because now Giro's the same. You get points for a lot of breakaways. So
Ulissi was in the jersey as well, I guess. Like, they actually had Fortunato and Ulissi just going after it. Haven't won a stage yet, but it's been pretty much talked about quite a bit.
Yeah, every day. And what about, well, then let's put it back on a team like yourself, Durbo. Okay, you've got these 2 wins now. And has there been talk about that you should adapt the Astana tactic? Is it now been coined as the Astana way of racing?
Well, it's funny because it's quite reactional. Like, we were doing this sort of tactic towards the back end of last 3-year cycle if we were to struggle to stay in the World Tour. This year, the last couple of years, we haven't because, we've been thereabouts. So, no, it hasn't been discussed. But it's a complete different mentality change. Like, I was reading this article, I was talking about Astana. Like, they literally went in and was just like, this is what we're doing. And it's a unanimous across the board. We're going after points, and we're not. You might not. Aaron Yates having a fantastic season. He's their 3rd highest point scorer. And I was talking to him, like, yeah. And I said, "Oh, look, what's the go? Maybe go to the Tour." And like the condition Aaron's had and the versatility this guy has is like, yeah, you'd send him the Tour in another team if he's having the season he's having. But he said, "Oh no, I'm not actually. I'm going here to do this and going here to chase the points here, there." Yeah, and I'm like,
free trips to China this year instead.
It's like it's hard to hear that when I was thinking like, Gady, like you deserve a Tour spot, but like he's probably not going to go, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, I thought it was interesting because I think people out there they would be looking at it going, Astana's the second best team in the world or third best team in the world this year, and you're like, but I haven't seen them here or I haven't seen them here with the races that I watch on TV. But there's this whole other ecosystem going in to the behind the scenes of these points. And it really should just be like, you should talk about it in the commentary, Mitch. Then people know, like, I know you talk about the relegation zone, but like just, throw out there, find out how many points it is to win a stage of the Tour de France or the Giro. And then just be like educating people back home to go, this is why people are racing this way or why people are doing these things.
180.
Well, I was seeing the World Tour teams up here at the 3-day tour and stuff.
I'm surprised Gady wasn't there. Right,
it could have been, yeah.
Also, he's one of my better friends. Durbo, it's hard to say, and he does deserve a Tour de France spot. But he didn't get a contract to go to Tour de France. He get a contract purely because they know he can score points, and they needed points.
Yeah, true.
He doesn't bring any points in. They were signing him like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, they bring him in because he's got a lot of points. It doesn't work like that. You have to accumulate the points while you're in the team for this current relegation system, and they did that, and now he has a contract. Maybe in the future renegotiate the contract and maybe has a chance to go bigger races or target whatever it is. But right now his pure job is to go to China, be it 3 times this year, and score points because he's bloody good at it.
True.
Nice.
Oh, there's Pelo Chat for another week.
All right, Shane, what have you got for us, mate? Talking tactics.
I think we already dived into it pretty well, but I've watched the Giro a little bit last week, not so much the first week, and it was purely coming down to not any team's tactic, but Del Toro's tactic. I feel like he put himself in a position on the gravel, following Van Aert, to put himself in the pink. Team was totally fine with it. It is what it is. They're going to be leading the race at some point, and they got the strongest team by, I would hate to think how many percentage, but they do have the strongest team out there. And now he's put himself in this position where it's like, okay, I'm leading the race. I'm allowed to do this. I'm in this position. The team can't change that. I'm probably not the out-and-out leader. I mean, it's clear he's not the out-and-out leader. I haven't fact-checked this the last couple of days. But if you ever want to know who leader of a bike race is, go to the team car, the bike directly above the mechanic, and have a look what name is on it. First back side of the car, back right side of the car, have a look. And it wasn't Del Toro's. Whose it is now, I'm not sure. But that's a surefire way to see at least who the mechanic thinks the team leader is. Maybe he also doesn't know, but sometimes the mechanic asks, what's the order of the bikes? Boom, 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 boom. It wasn't Del Toro. So now he's put himself in this position where he's got a chance.
Was it Poggy? Was it Poggy's bike?
Yeah, it was his 7th fight. No, it was clear who it was. But yeah, now he's in this position and he's just like, right, I'm going to just hold this as long as possible. He's racing, I would say, very young and very naive, chasing everything, but not one person has been allowed to move, and he's there. And like you said before, the team's still doing their race behind, but he's just straight on them. Oh, yeah, 2 bonus seconds here, 4 here. Not letting anything miss. So now his gap's getting bigger. Like he is growing the gap. Is it going to matter in a week's time? Probably not. He's either going to be good enough to still be there. At some point, Ayuso probably will attack under team orders, and he can follow, or he can't, or he cracks before the chance the racing starts. Who knows? But like he's definitely running his own ship, and I wouldn't say any team that lost the Tour de France by doing exactly that in the past. By chasing every sprint, by chasing every second, and letting other riders just go through the week easy, not making those efforts, because it goes back to the old thing that I'm sure Wazza told you back in the day, Mitch. You've only got one matches. If you keep firing off your matches, you'll run out of matches. So how many matches? The question is, how many matches did Del Toro have? We will find out this week, but he's used a lot of them already.
Well, yeah, it's coming into a big week. That's my only concern for him. It's no Wollonga Hill coming up. It's a lot of Wollongas in a row, multiple times.
I hope he gets it done. You know, I really it's pretty incredible in the way he's been racing. Like, even technically, I think he has been at the higher level from UAE. You know, he had the gravel stage, and then even when, you know, Jumbo laid it down, he was sort of sliding sideways on his bike and held it up. And the kid's got some serious talent, you know, on all terrain. He's up there in the bunch kicks. He's running third the day, you know, Mads Pedersen beat Van Aert. He's just, I mean, he's just firing bullets everywhere when I think about it. But I just hope he can hold on.
He's
where Ballard first found Mitch. Only one time over from Wollonga, back in TDU, tacked in the downhill, rode away.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Pretty confident. I'm pretty sure it was his first World Tour win. I think it's his first World Tour.
It was his first World Tour win and his first race with the team, and he did it in an epic style. His quote at the end of yesterday was perfect. I'm the new guy here, so I need to learn quickly. Every day I feel more confident. I know I'm still learning, but I'm starting to believe I can fight for something big. Should we get into the little quizzy poo? So, Mullet, the way this works is I've got a quiz for you two, and whoever loses has to shout the other one drinks until the next quiz.
Oh, but that doesn't work.
I will see Mullet.
We do. Oh, that doesn't work. He's been on me drink for years.
Oh, I'll finally pick up that bill at the Irish one, won't I?
You could do. You could do.
Right. All right. So, I've got a few individual questions and a few chime-ins. So, this first one, wait until you hear all the options and then chime in with your answer. Are you ready? This is a Giro-based quiz. What milestone did Wout van Aert achieve when he won stage
50th
9
win
into Siena? I said wait for all the answers, Durbo. A, the only rider in the top 10 in the stage, the only rider in the top 10 in the stage over 70 kilo. A stage in every Grand Tour. B. C, his 50th professional victory. C. D, none of the above. Or E, all of the above.
B.
So you think all riders in the top 10 were under 70 kilo. It was a stage win in every Grand Tour and his 50th professional win?
Yes, but I think he's already done the Grand Tour treble, no?
Durbo?
I'm the same as Shane. E.
Well, Shane got in first. That is correct. Shane Archbold. It was his 50th win, and he won a stage in every Grand Tour. All right, Durbo, good chance to come back. I'm going to take note this time. Durbo 0. Shane 1.
Minus because he got in early as well, Mitch. Give me a chance.
How many sectors of gravel were there in the Strada Bianca stage in this year's stage 9 of the Giro? Was there A, 3, B, 4, C, 9, or D, 5?
B.
D.
What'd you say, Shane?
B.
That is incorrect. Durbo's back on. There was 5 sectors. Well done, Durbs. How many years has it been since the Italian rider wore the Maglia Rosa in the Giro? And who wore it?
Are you giving us options?
Nah, no A, B, and C, D. Sorry.
Just sounds like and Mitch. Hello. So I'm going to go. Nibali was the last guy to wear the jersey. No, Damaki. Damaki's the last time wear the jersey, and that was 2018. Okay.
Gonna go 9 days, Ulysses.
I think he might win.
Well done. That wasn't the answer, but that is now the new correct answer. It was 4 years ago, Alessandro Damaki, but no, Shane rewrites the quiz.
You didn't make that quiz 2 weeks ago. So.
I should have written there before not Damaki, before Ulysses. But well done, Archbold.
Who was the other one? 4 years ago.
Damaki.
It was Damaki 4 years ago, yeah.
I said 6 years ago, but not.
This is not necessarily a Giro-based question, but this is a guy that both of you know. Julian Dean was a resident of Andorra. True or false?
True.
False.
The answer is true. Durbo.
How many days?
Wait, this is a backup question. Where did he, in fact, really live when he was pro in Europe?
Valencia.
Oh, Durbo. Shane, what have you been doing?
I didn't know it was Valencia, but I didn't know it was Andorra. So that's why I said false, because I thought he actually was in Spain.
What is it called when the riders pass over the highest point in the Giro?
Painful?
I actually don't know.
You're kidding me. I've already said it before.
The Queen stage.
It's not in the Queen stage. It's in stage 20.
Mate, you've been sitting next to bloody Matt Keenan. And you
I
just
know
be getting all
this.
this thing like, I'm such a cycling quiz nerd. You're like, you wouldn't even know that.
I did know this. It's the Chimacopi. Why is it called the Chimacopi? Think about the name.
Something to do with copy.
Copy Mountain. The biggest mountain. What was it?
It's named in honor of Coppi Bartoli, Italy's most famous rider, 5 times Giro winner. He was known for his dominance in the high mountains. Oh my gosh. Well, you're probably not going to know what this next one. The next one is an A, B, C, and D. All right, you ready? What was the first ever Chimacopi pass? A, the Gavia, B, the Mortarolo, C, the Stelvio, or D, Zoncolan?
Stelvio.
I was going to say C as well.
It's not C.
Are we guessing again?
B.
Why not?
Motorola.
It's not the Motorola. The Motorola is only 1852. The Stelvio is 2,700. Zoncolan, no.
I'll go A then. Point shame.
It's the Gavia, 2,600 meters. Oh, God, you guys suck. What is this one? No, it's not over yet. Couple questions left. Couple questions. What is this year's Chimacopi?
Just get off it, Mitch. Let it go.
I've got 3 more Chimacopi questions.
This year's is the highest mountain in the Giro, Mitch.
Is a Col de Finestra. Yeah, well done, boys. I actually said that before. That's why I was testing you how much you listen to my segment, you losers.
Not much.
Okay, Mitch, how many gravel sections are there in stage 20 of the Giro this year?
In stage 20, there's 1.
Oh, good job.
8 kilometer sector, second half of the Col de Finestra.
I bet you didn't find that information on Training Peaks. It must have been well over yours.
I know that because I wrote it. 2018 Giro. All right, last question. Here we go. Let's bring it in. So it is currently 3-3. Would you believe it? This is
It's not. It's like it's 3-1.
No, it's not. It is 3-3. I've been marking it off.
Okay, perfect.
This is a who am I? I'm a junior world champion. Any guesses?
Well, I know quite a few.
Before cycling, I used to sell cleaning products. I have a VO2 max of 80.2. I took my first professional win at the Tour de Azerbaijan, out sprinting the Australian Will Clark. I signed World Tour for a team at age 26 and started the Tour Down Under, but couldn't finish the race. Any guesses? In my first World Tour season, I rode the Giro and won stage 9 time trial. I have actually won the Giro overall. In 2020, I won the Velo d'Or, awarded to the most successful cyclist for the racing season.
2020.
Yep. I have also won the
Primož.
Vuelta. Oh, he's done it!
Oh, he just kept the curveball. I didn't know he did down under.
I also couldn't finish.
How much was that a curveball one?
I
was
wasn't
like,
even.
he's
I wasn't
such an obvious
thinking
guy.
But I used that, and I also knew that he was in Azerbaijan, but I didn't know he was up sprinting Will Clark. I just didn't
Well
know.
done. You kept
I was
that's such a long one with not knowing.
Until you
Credits
did the
to the-
Giro, I was 100% sure it was an Australian. I was just like thinking about Australians the whole time. I was like, could be.
Because you just thought junior world champ. It's like 90% of Australia's junior world
you know
champions.
what is junior world champion in ski jumping?
Ski jumping.
Yeah,
That's what threw me
done.
off. That's why I was thinking Australians, because who else would we know the junior world champion?
Can we give credits to the quiz maker?
Well, you win the quiz.
Drinks are on me, dude. Mitch, you get nothing.
Yeah,
Hey, have I got time I can tell you my Southam story? It's fast.
yeah. Quickly,
all right,
let's get it in.
Very related to Communiqués. So back when I was racing, don't remember which team I was in, but Scully, good mate of all of ours, was racing under Tom's guidance as sports director. I'm pretty sure we were in Rutland, full gravel, rain, crappy day, whatever it was, and I needed some oil. My chain was like completely mess. So I went back, put my hand up, didn't have a team car there. Tom appears next to me. No idea who Tom was at that point. What do you need, mate? Oh, could you, I need a bit of oil. Could you chuck me some oil? Oh, yeah, sure thing. Go to the mechanic. Mechanic hangs out the ring. Nice wee coat of oil there, spinning away, super food. No sounds coming from the chain. That night, flicking through the Communiqué for the day's race, finds Tom Southam. $200. $200. I don't know if it was oiling other teams or mechanic hanging out from car. It was one of the ridiculous, like, small things. See him at the buffet that night, comes over. I was talking to Scud, comes over and he's like, oh, I need to speak to you. What's that, mate? What's up? You owe me $200. Yeah, to this day, it's always like, it's whatever. Having the coffee, having a beer, whatever. Anytime I see Tom saying about $200, 200 Swiss franc, I didn't laugh. Was it Hungary? Or maybe it was the Ardennes. In the Ardennes, I was driving Gasper. Gasparotto, the other sports director, went up next to Southam's car, put the window down, obviously. When any sports director does that, they want to talk tactics, you know. Puts the window down. I have my hand in the back. I said, okay, give me some oil. And I was like, hey, Tom, would you like some oil? And he starts laughing. Then he messages me something inappropriate. Me being
That
enough.
is so good.
So now every time I've just got this connection with Tom and $200 franc and some oil. It's good. But what a good guy. Just helping me out. Just some amateur kicking
Great
around.
guy. Well, I think he can pay you $200 for doing his segment this time. So I think he might call it even now. Yeah.
And he goes for the quiz that I lost.
Yeah, apparently.
Boys, big thanks to our major partner, Map and Training Peaks. Boys, big pleasure to have you guys both on. Mullet, guest appearance, but I hope you can be coming back to fill in for Southam whenever he's not available, or actually fill in for Durbo. You can play the pro as well.
Probably couldn't fill those shoes. Tom was easy. Well, thanks for the invite, boys. Enjoyed it anytime.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, mate. See you guys.
That iconic music in this episode was composed by none other than the legend Pete Shelley. Cheers, mate.